Coming up on the Rockbridge Report, pay raises may be on the way to teachers in this area. We'll tell you what school boards are considering. Lexington's residents will soon be able to enjoy smooth streets in the Diamond Hill area. We'll update you on the project's progress. Maryland's Attorney General says Baltimore's Catholic Church covered up decades of child sexual abuse. Learn more about the key findings of the report. And spring is supposed to be in the air. Stick around to hear what the weather will look like Easter weekend. All that and more now on the Rockbridge Report.
Live from the campus of Washington and Lee University with news for Rockbridge County, this is the Rockbridge Report.
Welcome to the Rockbridge Report. I'm Archita Agarwal.
And I'm Carly Snyder. Teachers in Rockbridge County, Buena Vista, and Lexington may see a bump in pay this fall, but it's unclear how much of an increase they will get. All three districts are waiting on Virginia lawmakers and the governor to approve the state budget. Once that happens, the school districts can figure out how high raises can be. School officials in Rockbridge County, Buena Vista, and Lexington want a 7% pay raise for teachers and staff. But the county supervisors say they can't afford to go above 5%. Buena Vista and Lexington are waiting to hear from their respective city councils on what is doable. School officials say the sooner lawmakers and the governor approve the budget, the better. The city of Lexington is finishing a 2-year construction project that tore up several roads in the Diamond Hill area. Many drivers endured the bumpy streets over the last year, but as Andrew Arnold reports, relief is finally here.
This is what streets used to look and feel like, but now Lexington residents can finally enjoy smooth rides on Washington and Randolph streets in the Diamond Hill area. It's taken years to upgrade the city's 100-year-old sewer piping. Crews worked this past week to pave the roads that had been torn up.
You can't sleep through it, that's for sure. It was 7 a.m. every morning. I didn't have a class until like 9:45, so it was pretty frustrating that Monday through Friday, the day started then.
The project started in the spring of 2021 and has experienced several delays. The street paving is the final step. 2 sections of sewer pipes require workers to use different construction techniques to get underground and fix the pipes. The unexpected extra work delayed the project until December. By that time, it was too cold to pave the torn-up roads. Director of Public Works Patrick Madigan has seen Facebook comments from frustrated people who live in the city.
Hopefully there's thumbs up on Facebook posts.
Phase 2 of the Diamond Hill project is slated to begin sometime in the next 5 years. The Public Works Department will now shift its focus toward making similar upgrades to sewer lines in the Jackson Avenue area.
I think we leave you with a product that'll be good for the next 7,500 years.
Crews finished paving portions of Randolph and Washington streets in Diamond Hill this past week. Next, they're going to pave the bridge on West Nelson Street by East Denny Circle, where I am standing, over the next couple weeks. Live on Nelson Street for the Rockbridge Report, I'm Andrew Arnold. Back to you in the studio.
The family of 17-year-old Delano Martin is heartbroken after he was fatally shot by police in Washington, D.C. last month. But his family members also demand justice after released body cam footage reveals the bigger picture. CNN's Brian Todd reports.
I want the officer name released immediately. I want him arrested.
Tara Martin, the mother of 17-year-old Delano Martin, spoke publicly for the first time, surrounded by family, supporters, and her attorneys. She criticized the entire police response the morning of Saturday, March 18th, when her son was found sleeping in a car police say was stolen. Body camera video released Tuesday shows Metropolitan Police Department officers strategizing with 2 U.S. Park Police officers about how to get Delano Martin out of the car, with one MPD officer saying,
"If he does, he takes off, just let him go. But don't get inside that car until we know."
Yet when officers try to get Martin out of the car and he wakes up, one Park Police officer is in the car in the back as Martin drives away. After about 13 seconds,
"Stop, man, just let me out. Let me out. Stop, bro, shoot."
Time and time again, I sit and I try to get my head wrapped around this, and I can't. I don't sleep, I don't eat, and justice need to be served. My son should still be here.
The Maryland Attorney General's office reports detailing the investigation into the Archdiocese of Baltimore says they found decades of child sexual abuse and leadership's efforts to cover it up. Attorney General Anthony Brown says there are details of significant abuse.
The incontrovertible history uncovered by this investigation is one of pervasive, pernicious, and persistent abuse by priests and other archdiocese personnel.
Brown says more than 300 people contacted his office since the investigation into allegations of child sexual abuse and cover-up efforts began in 2018. The Archbishop of Baltimore issued an apology Wednesday on behalf of Archdiocese, saying, "We hear you, we believe you, and your courageous voices have made a difference." Archbishop William E. Lurie added, "It will not be covered up, ignored, or forgotten." According to the Archdiocese office, the Catholic Church of Baltimore has paid out more than $13 million to 303 victims of abuse there since the 1980s.
President Joe Biden will face competition for the Democratic nomination. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. threw his name in the ring for the Democratic nomination for president. The 69-year-old environmental lawyer and anti-vaccine activist filed paperwork with the Federal Election Commission to run. Kennedy said earlier this year he was considering a run. He said his top priority will be to, quote, end the corrupt merger between state and corporate power. Kennedy is the son of the former New York Senator and Attorney General who shared his name. Robert Kennedy Sr. was assassinated in 1968. RFK Jr. is also the nephew of the late President John F. Kennedy. Hundreds of armored police filed the streets of Paris today as protesters threw smoke bombs and paint at them. It's the 11th day of demonstrations across the country. The protests are over new plans for the French government to raise the age of retirement to 64 from 62. That was pushed through Parliament without a vote. France's Constitutional Court is reviewing the legality of that and is expected to announce a decision next Friday. Protesters have scheduled their next demonstration for the day before that.
The new owner of the old building that housed Grand Home Furnishings in Lexington says he doesn't know what he's going to do with the property yet, but he's open to ideas. On April 20th, Richmond-based developer John Adamson and Main Street Lexington will host a business after-hours event at 5 p.m. at the building on South Main Street. Part of the building must be used for business purposes to comply with city zoning regulations, but its second floor could be used for apartments. City manager Jim Hallis says the city could use more housing, especially downtown. Anyone who's interested can stop by the event and make suggestions.
Up next, Lexington firefighters say new equipment will hit the streets later this month. We'll tell you more about how the fire department plans to pay for their new wheels.
Hi, I'm Delano Stevenson with the Rockbridge Report. It is a beautiful and sunny day here in Lexington, but it seems like it's not going to stay that way. Find out more on my forecast coming up.
And stick around to hear how one local organization got creative to expand its youth and adult programs.
The Lexington Fire Department will get a new ladder truck at the end of this week to replace its 25-year-old truck. Ned Newton has the story.
Firefighters held their breath for years every time they navigated the twists and turns of the historic city's narrow streets in their old ladder truck.
Think about taking something that big and going downtown and turning left onto Washington Street. And, maybe in the middle of the night, maybe if you're lucky and there's not a bunch of cars parked there and there's nobody waiting at the traffic light or something like that.
Lexington firefighters say they've needed a new ladder truck for years, and they're finally getting one. They say the new truck will help them do their jobs better and more safely. Unlike the old ladder truck, the new truck can make sharper turns, and it doesn't have the big blind spot on the backside that made it hard for the driver to navigate through traffic.
Minutes and seconds count when we're trying to save somebody's life. A fire doubles in size every minute.
The new truck costs about $1.7 million. City manager Jim Hallis says most of the money comes from the city budget's equipment replacement fund. Washington and Lee University and Virginia Military Institute also will kick in $700,000 over the next 10 years to pay for the truck or other city vehicles.
People want to talk about the price tag, but I look at it as far as what what's a price you would put on your life, or your loved ones' lives, your friends' lives.
Firefighters must manually jack up the old truck to deploy the ladder. The new truck's jack and ladder are remote operated. The new truck is also equipped with several cameras.
As we're approaching where we're going to set up, we can turn on the cameras that will show us exactly where our H-jacks are going to deploy to, and that way, before we even get out of the driver's seat, we know if we have the room.
The new truck is scheduled to arrive in the next few days, but it won't be on Lexington streets until later this month. First, firefighters need to learn how to drive it and use its features. Once they complete a 3-day training course, the rubber will hit the road. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Ned Newton.
The Buena Vista Police Department is close to opening a children's room in its station to temporarily hold children who have to be separated from their legal guardians. Mayor Bill Fitzgerald says it will help solve disputes between the police and the Department of Social Services over who should take custody of children whose parents have been arrested.
So this takes the child out the picture, and because both sides know that child's safe, automatically when something like that happens, that child will go disrobed, and that child will be taken care of and protected.
Fitzgerald says he came up with the idea in January after a state trooper and a social worker argued over what to do with an infant whose parents were arrested during a traffic stop. For more on the room, check out Jack Hunter's story on our website, rockbridgereport.wlu.edu.
The Rockbridge Area Recreation Center is planning to expand its youth and adult programs to meet increasing demand among residents across the county. To find a space to meet the need, the group had to get creative and fast. Emma Mansfield has more.
Rockbridge Area Recreation Organization Executive Director Chad Coffey has big dreams. He wants to transform the first floor of a former middle school into an indoor sports facility with baseball, softball, wrestling, and archery. The demand for exercise is up, especially since the COVID-19 pandemic. The space will help people stay active, rain or shine.
More people are looking to get back outside, looking for more things to do.
Coffey is focusing on the old cafeteria of the Rivermont School in Fairfield. The school shares the 2-story building with the county. The school and county lease the building from Lynchburg-based RMS Holdings. The school uses the second floor for special needs students. The county uses the first floor for storage.
So a cafeteria space is pretty large. So there's a fair amount that you can do. You're not going to play a baseball game in there, but yeah, you could put up a batting cage.
But RARO must get the Board of Supervisors' approval for a sublease before it can open the space to the public. But Coffey has already started installing artificial turf. Netting protects windows that line one end of the room. The batting cages will come next, after the lease is approved.
Yeah, we've been able to hit, wiffle balls and stuff like that inside, but to be able to get in, on a turf, turf floor and hit in a batting cage and actually throw bullpens and stuff, I think it's going to be great for the kids and for the coaches. I think everyone's going to enjoy it.
Coffey says he wants to finish the baseball and softball features in the room by the start of the summer. The next phase will add wrestling, indoor golf, archery, and a film room to the rest of the first floor.
It's just a part of an overall big vision to grow and expand and provide for this community.
Coffey says he expects the board to decide on the sublease as early as its next meeting on Monday. The entire project could take a few years. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Emma Mansfield.
A local butcher moved locations. Find out how the move impacted another local business.
A community-run museum seeks to share the local impact of slavery. Find out how the museum plans to make this history personal.
And this Easter season, you may spot a new thing filling your basket. Stick around after the break. Cattlemans Market relocated. It's now on East Nelson Street in Lexington, but the move could affect people who shopped at another store. Billy Quilley reports.
Until 2 weeks ago, Cattlemans Market used to be next door to Herman's Produce on East Midland Trail just outside the Lexington city limits. Herman sells plants and produce. Many people shopped at both stores in one trip.
Their business was a really nice complement to ours because you could come to our place and get your proteins, go to their place and get your vegetables.
Cattlemans Market moved into its new location on East Nelson Street near Sheets. The new store is just over a mile away from the old one.
It's one of the busiest intersections in Lexington. We hope that we not only tap into the people that live in the community, but also people that are passing through.
Cattleman's move raised questions among Herman's customers.
People that have come in looking for Cattleman's, we have to explain where they're at, and they're like, oh, I guess I'll hear more when we get busy.
Obviously, Cattleman's is a popular spot. People love going and getting their stuff. So yeah, I mean, it could definitely have an impact on Herman's.
In the future, Cattleman's plans to expand its inventory by selling products that customers often found at Herman's.
We will probably add in more produce and more fruits and vegetables to supplement your buying experience here.
But Carter says Herman's won't change its inventory.
We'll keep what we got. Yeah, I don't see much changing, honestly.
Carter says she'll learn more closer to Mother's Day when Herman's business picks up. That's when she says she'll know how Cattleman's move is going to affect her business. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Billy Quealy.
I saw a lot of people soaking up the sun and enjoying the warm weather on the colonnade today.
Yeah, I've been going out of classes and hanging out at the colonnade. How long do you think this is going to last, Juliana?
Arsha, sadly, I think our days on the colonnade are numbered as we're coming into a bit of a rainy weekend. Let's take a look at our live shot going east on Nelson Street. We can see it's been a warm but cloudy day here in Lexington with a high of 80 and a low of 48. We have had a barometric pressure of 30.18 inches and a wind speed of 5 miles per hour as well as a humidity of 45%. Now let's take a look at our radar as we see this precipitation coming in down south from Roanoke up north. And we can see that that's going to continue into the weekend. Here in Lexington, we see a temperature around 80 as well as in Buena Vista and Stanton with some clouds. Over in Charlottesville and down south in Lynchburg, it's a bit warmer, around 86 or 87 degrees with some sun. Now let's take a look over in Covington where we can see those cold temperatures at 67 degrees and cloudy. Down south in Roanoke, a very similar temperature to Lexington at 81 degrees. Now let's take a look at our 5-day forecast. Tomorrow on Friday, the rain's going to be coming in with a high of 54 and a low of 41. And on Saturday, that rain is going to stay in with a high of 54 and a low of 32. On Sunday, the sun is going to come back, but the temperature is just going to heat up just a little bit with a high of 62 and continue to warm up on Monday and Tuesday with a high of 65 and a low of 73. It's going to be a rainy weekend, but we're looking for some sun coming into next week. Back to you guys.
Several sports teams played this week. We'll bring you the latest sports scores for your favorite teams.
And find out what fun food may wind up at your Easter hunt this weekend. Stick around.
Welcome back to the Rockbridge Report.
Rockbridge County has a complicated connection to slavery that goes back centuries. The Brownsburg Museum's new exhibit will dive into a more modern side of that history. Teddy Jacobson has the story.
The small town of Brownsburg wants to continue to explore the past and present impact of slavery in its rural community. Brownsburg Museum's creative director Dee Pappett says the story of slavery needs new perspectives.
The issue of slavery is a local issue. We tend to put it contextualize it in a national way that doesn't bring it home. It doesn't make it personal.
Last year, the museum organized a tour of 5 slave homes that have been preserved on various properties in Brownsburg. The museum's advisory committee chair, Julie Fox, says the new exhibit picks up where the tour ended. University of Virginia graduate students are helping research and build the new exhibit. Paffett says input from the students brings a younger perspective that the museum has not had before. She also says the museum has never done an exhibit that revolves around the history of slavery in the area.
The museum has had great exhibits before, but they've been very traditional to what you would expect in a rural community. Exhibits on barns and farming and the general store.
Pappett says the new exhibit will have fewer artifacts than normal because many of the items related to slavery have been destroyed or lost. Fox says they will instead rely more on modern stories, pictures, and videos.
I believe that this front room will be present day and the descendants and their stories, and then we'll move back into the back room into the antebellum Brownsburg.
Fox says the exhibit will be called Connecting Stories, following the deep currents of family.
How will we know it's us if we don't know our past?
Fox says members of the museum's advisory committee are traveling to Charlottesville on Friday to meet with the UVA curation team to finalize plans for the exhibit. She says the museum should reopen with the new exhibit by the end of May. For the Rockbridge Report, I'm Teddy Jacobson.
Carly, this season has been filled with so many sports matches.
Yeah, I actually found out today that one of my close friends knows someone who's playing in the Masters.
Well, that's exciting. It is a great time to be a sports fan right now. The MLB season has kicked off. Today was the first round of the Masters. Let's get into some local sports. WNL's men's lacrosse team slaughtered Bridgewater College 23-6 this weekend. I had the chance to speak with the team's captain after the game.
Good afternoon, Rockbridge. I am here at Washington and Lee's Wilson Field, where the Generals men's lacrosse team just defeated the Bridgewater Eagles 23-6. I'm joined here by Adam, midfielder on the team. I know the team's coming off of a 3-game losing streak, and this is the first win to finally put that streak to an end. How does it feel to get a win on the home field?
It feels good. The message all week was obviously just about us getting back to the way we wanted to play. Obviously, the 3 losses, 3 good teams that we played the last 3 games. But at least for today, it was just getting back to what we wanted to do, and we executed that well.
And it's one of the windiest days that we've seen here in Lexington, with speeds over 22 miles per hour. How do you feel the team battled the conditions today?
Yeah, I'm just lucky it was warm instead of a cold wind. But we put an emphasis on on-field communication. Obviously, sometimes it could be hard to hear. So we're really good about echoing from the bench to the field our play calls and what we wanted to do.
Thank you so much for your time, and best of luck moving forward.
Thank you.
WNL's number 2 ranked women's lacrosse team demolished Roanoke College last night with a final score of 17-7. The team will return to the field next Saturday to battle the Virginia Wesleyan University Marlins. VMI's women's water polo team competed in their aquatic center for the first time this weekend. The team fell to Mount St. Mary's in a 15-10 match Sunday, adding on to an 11-game losing streak. The Keydets will be back on the road Friday to compete against Iona University. VMI baseball fell in a heartbreaking 4-6 game Tuesday night, but their fortunes changed earlier today with a 14-11 win against Western Carolina. Guilford College baseball blasted the SVU Knights out of the park Tuesday in a 7-inning, 23-8 loss. The SVU's men's lacrosse team also played on the road Tuesday and squeaked out a 9-8 win against Greensboro College. Rockbridge County High School's varsity boys team trailed James River 0-3 at the half. The Wildcats staged a comeback in the second half, but came up just short in a heartbreaking 4-3 loss. But stay positive. There are a lot of great matchups headed our way. That's all for sports. Back to you, Carly.
Egg prices have stabilized from their January highs, but they're still not cheap. That's led some people on social media to try painting potatoes for Easter. That trend hasn't been lost on potato producers. Marketing and promotion offer tips on how to get the best Easter spud. You can either use food coloring or regular paint. The group says potatoes are less fragile than eggs and easier for kids to hold. That's it for this semester's Rockbridge Report. Visit our website at rockbridgereport.wlu.edu for the latest in regional and national news.
And before we say goodbye, we also want to thank our colleagues Leslie Lee for her 4 years of work in the control room. We wish her the best. Thanks for watching.